Well, I'm walking up to the airfield from my home, which is only about 5 minutes from here. So I'm just walking up the road to Holmbeck Farm to the airfield. And it's a lovely morning. A slight breeze, which is good. Excellent. So getting ready. Wings on, pins in. Refueled, starting to pack. And she's looking good. Bit of a mess at the moment, but I'll get there. I've got my list to pack. So here's all my gear. Need to get in. Just wee bags really.
Welcome back to the GT Aviator channel, and you join me today in my EuroFox as I'm about to set off on a trip to Scotland. The guys joining me on the trip will be John Upton and his son Mike, Dave Buggins and Eddie Scoodle. Our first stop will be Finland, where we're all going to meet up. So you're going to watch a little bit of video of me taking off on the route to Finland. So let's see how we get on this trip. It was a great trip and everybody had a fantastic time. Scotland is a great place to fly to, and flying around the islands there is so amazing. And if you've never been, it's something you really need to do. And as you'll see, we visited some great places and we had a few trials and tribulations, which always happens, but hopefully you'll enjoy the video and see how we got on. So we all got to Finland okay, and after a bite to eat and a cup of tea, we changed our plans slightly, because what we were meant to do was fly up to Fishburne, but the weather looked really cool. Not cool, but it looked really nice on the east side of the UK. So we decided to push on a little bit further up to a place called Moor, which, if you don't know where that is, it's sort of north of Eshot Airfield, but south of a town called Alnwick. And Eddie gave the owner a shout, and they said yes, yeah, by all means, come in. And we decided to camp there. But luckily for some of us, they offered the clubhouse as well, and so we got our heads down in the clubhouse, which was great. But anyway, this is the next part of the journey. Again, I'm sorry about the lack of audio, but like I say, it was all corrupted. But the visuals are good. Okay. Well, after a great night down the pub and a well-earned rest, we awoke to fairly low cloud, and but as the morning progressed, they seemed to rise to about 15 to 1800 feet. So we decided we would fly off over to Eshot, pick up some fuel, and then make our way up to Perth, where we will spend the night. So that's the next leg of the journey. Once all the aircraft were warm, we decided to set off, and as you can see, Eddie's in the lead there as he taxis down to runway 21. After takeoff, it's a right-hand turn out of Moor, and then you make your way to Eshot, which is just a short flight distance of maybe 10 minutes or so, and where we're going to pick up some fuel. Now, before anybody says, I did balls up this, not the takeoff, but the actual exit and circuit to the airfield. Somehow I missed the brief that once you leave the circuit, you've got to do a right-hand turn around, not a left-hand turn. And I took off and, like an idiot, turned left. However, in the interests of public safety and noise abatement, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I didn't fly over any settlements or buildings. I went between everything. I thought it was a bit tight, and then once I landed, Dave Buggins scolded me. He said, "What on earth were you doing? You meant to do a right-hand turn. You buggered everything up." And I did apologise, and there was no issues. But live and learn. Well, here we are at E-Shot, and what a great little field it is. A really decent setup in sort of a professional but a downscaled way. You know, the staff are professional, the airfield is kept decent, there's fuel, there's a cafeteria, there's toilets. To be honest, it's a great stop if you need some fuel and a bite to eat, or even just to visit the loop. It's a decent little field, and like I say, they couldn't have been more helpful. But it's probably because they're from the north, and you know what northern hospitality is like. It's second to none, and I assure you, we all had a decent visit there. Here, join me in the cockpit at the hold at runway 25, waiting for this Cessna to land. In front of me is Dave, Eddie, and behind me is John and Mike in the Eurostar. The route today will be from E-Shot up the east coast all the way to Perth, passing lots of lovely scenery, which there's a few shots of that, and it was a pretty decent flight, to be perfectly honest. A bit breezy, mind, but a decent flight. Anyway, let's see how we get on. To the right there is Amble, a little coastal village, and we're just going north of that to join the coast to head up to Perth. Well, after that rather bumpy landing at Perth, it was time to taxi off and park up for the evening. And ATC instructed us that the best thing to do was to taxi on down past one of the big hangars, the last hangar on the right, and then park up by the fire service training ground. However, as we taxied along there, we found it a little bit precarious because there was like tractors on one side, ground equipment on the other. But eventually we got sorted and we set up camp there. Here you see Dave Buggins now negotiating the gap between the ground equipment and now our aircraft. And I suppose in hindsight we should have probably gone a little bit further down. But to be honest, I didn't realise that they weren't allowed to park where they were. And so we sort of stood on the wing and guided the aircraft through. Again, Eddie negotiates the same gap, but does it with ease with the assistance of his wingmen on either side, and parks up next to Dave Buggins.